Okay, so hi, I'm Wo. This is the first draft of new presentations that we're going to do this year. Last year, we talked a lot about persona when it came to chatbots. This year, we're going to talk more in two different streams about chatbots and voice user interface, which is what we do, and ML and AI. So this is the first draft of the presentation that we're going to be doing when we go to FutureSync, which, if you haven't bought your tickets, I'm hoping Tony was in the room when I said that. When you haven't bought your tickets, buy your tickets now. So this is our first draft, and by the time we get there, hopefully it's going to be better than it is today. Any feedback after this would be great. This is our first draft, as I said. Okay, so I'm Wo King, CEO of Hi9, and we create chatbots and NLP models, voice UIs for many different industries. Our two main strands are health and extreme environments and industrial. We do everything from, we're doing now, after a meeting I had today, virtual world integration of NLP, deep sea diving digital assistance, medicine reminder. We're using one with pollution data and using Alexa and Google Homes in order to warn people to take their inhalers. When people do take their inhalers, then to report that information back and create ML models in order to do bespoke warning systems. I'm here to talk about Internet of Things. This is what people usually think what the Internet of Things, and it isn't. I know this diagram is wrong because I want to show what it isn't. People think that they all, so mobiles, sensors, consumer items, industrial systems, all go to a central cloud. That's not what it is. It is more this, and even, I've got to change the diagram, as I said, it's the first draft, they communicate with each other. So you might turn on the microwave, and the microwave might then turn on the lights. It doesn't necessarily have to go to the center. We're also going to be giving you these new terms of edge computing. So edge computing are devices which, like mobiles, microwaves, sensors mainly, which actually compute data where they are instead of sending it back. Now, over 2 weeks ago, I was going to do a workshop which is completely different from this, but 2 weeks ago, everything changed. And it changed in the following way. So 2 weeks ago, I was going to show you how to do smart home applications, like get your Google Home to switch off and on a device, seeing the state of the device in your network. 2 weeks ago, though, TensorFlow, which is Google's machine learning library, changed. And the Alpha 2 is coming out, and a lot of things changed, and a lot of things in the industry, in my viewpoint, has changed. Privacy, so these are one of the big things. Federated learning. Google, Facebook, all of them have been terrified that data privacy of all of us sharing data and going to one place and then putting machine learning models on it or creating algorithms in order to give us the adverts that we want is scary, is terrifying to a lot of different people. TensorFlow came up with federated learning 2 weeks ago, which means the fact that what they're saying is that they're going to do machine learning models, and we can do machine learning models, which go onto your device, like your mobile, and models go over your data and then come back and aggregate out the model, and therefore they then have the model without having your data. Now, I know a few people in Google, and I approached them and turned around and said, is this how you're going to get around the problem? And I haven't heard back. They either don't know, or they're not aware, or they're not sure. This could be how we actually solve the problem. We don't give them their data. We just allow them to model our data. Now, I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. This was sort of a bit buried, this, but I think this is really exciting. It also means for health. It means that we'll be able to get our data modeled in order to create solutions without sharing our health data. This could radically change things incredibly. Now, I'm now going to talk about voice UI and NLP models on these edge devices, things like mobiles, sensors, industrial items, devices, all these sort of different things. Two things had to come together to make this happen. And again, this is only in the last couple of weeks that I think finally it's got there. One is because of this guy. Does anyone know who this guy is? Shame on you. He's Cain Gabriel. He's the father of MEMS. What's MEMS? Oh, sorry, before I put it, what's MEMS? Oh, geeks. Micro, electrical, mechanical systems. These are very, very tiny. You're integrating physical with microcontrollers. So for instance, as you were showing earlier, air sensor that size, 3 millimeters across. Humidity sensor, I mean, you've seen all these sensors. They're like 2 or 3 millimeters across. The first one he did was in airbags. So before, it was a ball in a magnet. And when you hit, the ball came out of the magnet. He changed it with MEMS, so the fact that it is absolutely tiny. The ball in the magnet, of course, it would rust, it would fail. With these, you can just switch off and on the power and test. Completely revolutionizing electronics and completely revolutionizing the mobile. Without that, you wouldn't have had the microphone. The microphone before that point was too big, too cumbersome, would fail too often. MEMS is the reason why you got a mobile. And he said this, over 2 billion microphones, 2 billion microphones are made every year. That's an insane number. Everything is going to have a microphone, everything. By end of last year, over 40% of households had either some sort of smart speaker. By this year, end of this year, majority of households will have a smart speaker. Now, that's not just a Google Home or Alexa. There's 3.5 billion Google Assistants out there. Microphones are going to be in and on everything. So we're going to be talking to devices in ways that we never have done before. And right now, unfortunately, you have to, they have to be online. So it goes online, it gets through the NLP models, and then it comes back, which means it needs to have internet access. But, as you can see, they're in everything, microphones now. This is what had to happen. This is one of the things that had to happen. In order to make it the fact that it didn't have to go up to the internet, the models had to get smaller. And again, literally 2 weeks ago. So, 2012, when the first really big breakthrough, this is for Google, others have had other breakthroughs, when they finally started getting breakthrough with voice, was 2 gig in order for it to do it. So it had to be in data centers. Changing the modeling, it's come down more and more and more. And I knew about this in November, but literally last night, they released a new model that you can use on your mobile if you've got a Pixel, and if you use the Gboard typewriting and change it over to US English, and I've done it because I'm a geek, it is 85 megabytes. That's it. An NLP model of 85 megabits. That means it can be in everything, and it is brilliant. And it works in parallel, so as soon as it does it character by character. Normally with NLP models, you have to record a certain small amount, and then it starts interpreting because it needs the context. This is character by character, and it's about as real time as you can possibly get. And it doesn't need to be online, it's offline, and it is 85 megabytes large. That one, command-based, which I'll go over in a second, is 20 kilobytes, up to 50 words. That's the kind of model that's used, so an Alexa or a Google has a hot word, and so therefore to wake up, using that model, again TensorFlow, 20 kilobytes on a processor, 40 millimeters times 40 millimeters, you can have up to 50 words, forward, left, back, right. That's 20 kilobytes. This is the speed difference between the two. So as I said, you can use, as you talk, on the right, it works in real time, offline. So you can, as you can see, the latency has gone. So the 2 things had to happen. 1, the microphones had to get small, really cheap. That's happened, 2 billion a year. 2nd, the NLP model had to get really small and really fast. Done. Now down to 85 megabytes. I'm sure we'll get even smaller. Just command-based hot words, 20 kilobytes. What does that mean? For us, we developed for extreme environments. Started off with someone approaching us about space, but now we're doing fire, defense, health. This is what's called domains. So domains are places where you have very restricted ways of talking. These are perfect for small, fast, offline models because you're an astronaut, you're up in space, this is how it first started, you've got your gloves on, you've got your visor on, something goes wrong, you're not going to a manual, you're not looking at a screen, you're going to use an audio digital assistant. Well, what is that? Now, astronauts we started off with and went, okay, fine, what else? Deep sea divers, what else? Firemen, what else? It goes on and on and on. The behavior of having your hands free and your head up is very common. And also we've done interviews now with RAF Portreif, Fire, with mining organizations, and they all have a very similar way of dealing with information, with lists, and it's very command turn by turn. I employ linguists now. I used to run just a normal tech company. I now have linguists, so therefore I know these terms now. So you have these turn by turn, command-based sentences, which can be made very, very clear. A fireman will not turn around to their hose leader and say, what's the weather like? He will say, or she will say a particular thing, and a particular thing will come back, which means you can make a very constrained model. There is a huge amount of places and relationships where that can happen. These things you can get, I'm waiting for mine, in order to finish this project. Microcontrollers, if you go to Coal, TensorFlow, Google, you can get these things. The Coal is a TP unit, which is a TensorFlow unit, so you can do local machine learning models. DevBoard, we can connect like computers up. That microcontroller is 40 millimeters times 40 millimeters. This is federated learning. So as you can see, the model learns on your data, it aggregates that, and then goes back to the cloud. The cloud then tries again, and it goes round and round and round. Now, we're going to concentrate a lot on industrial as well. So for mining, when you go up to a device, you want to be able to know what that device does. And this is the same with fire. We got asked that when you walk up to this, so a gas canister, the fire person needs to know what it is and what to do. They cannot look this thing up. The communications is terrible, and so therefore they need a digital assistant which is incredibly clear in their ear. So, there are 3 different ways we're going to be talking about linguistics when it comes to this. We use conversational analysis. There are commands, agency pairs, and turn by turn, and we'll be with 2 volunteers who have a prize for coming up. Do you want to come up? We'll show you how we do this. So, we role play. So as Tony knows, we do workshops. And when we do the normal chatbots, if you'd like to come up. When we do the normal chatbots, as you know, Jordan, yes, that they role play. So because you have the human interlocutor and the robot interlocutor. Now, when you're doing that, that's fine to human. But when you're talking to a device, it is very much different. So as I turned around and said with fire, it's a very constrained conversation just because of what you are going to be talking to. So going through the different ways of conversational units, the way we do it is in order to take away that it's a person, we do it with card. And you put it in front of your face, and therefore the person then is talking to a thing. And the way someone talks to a thing is different from the way a person talks to a person. So, who's going to be the robot? I don't mind. Okay, so you're going to face that way a bit so they can see, right? Now, with no training whatsoever, apart from the fact that I've told you a little thing, and as you can see on your tables, you're going to spend a few minutes doing this well, there are A3 pieces of paper with pens. You're going to do a very simple dialogue without any training. Hold that. So what does it say? What is it? So you know what you are.
What are you, Harvey?
I'm a menu.
So that's a fast food screen.
Oh, fast food screen.
Fast food screen.
Right.
Okay. So I've given you a little bit of briefing of what a fallback is. So if Jordan turns around and says something that you don't recognise, you then might say, what would you say?
What would you like to order?
Or things like, I don't understand, is there anything you'd like to order? You're always trying to get the person back into the conversation.
Okay.
But you've driven up, so you've got to drive up. Okay, turn down the window. And then what would you say to it? You have to put it in front of your face. So you can't see your face. There you go.
Can I order a hamburger, please?
Yes, of course. Would you like anything else?
Can I take the lettuce out of it, please?
Yes, of course. Would you like anything else?
Can I take the cheese out of it, please?
Yes, of course. Would you like anything else?
Can I take the
Do you want the
burger
burger?
out of it, please?
So that's an unusual conversation of a really picky person. But as you can tell, Jordan does not come up and turn around and go, what's the weather? What do you think of Brexit? What's my colour eyes? Immediately when you see the device, you will only talk a certain way. Then write down the dialogue. Then you've got a really constrained, small dialogue that you can do a model on very successfully. So, next one, it's a coffee machine. So Jordan, you're waking up in the morning, bad hangover. What would you say to your coffee machine?
Is it too early for coffee yet?
And what would you say if she said that?
I do not understand. Would you like some coffee?
No, you say it's never early enough for coffee. So, what's the weather like?
I do not understand. Would you like some coffee?
No, don't like coffee.
You're arguing with your coffee machine. That's what you want to do? Fine. We actually got approached by the French company that makes most coffee machines, and because of the internet, so we're going to go back to them now that we can do local models. They were very keen. We turned around and said we want to do a persona, the fact that it becomes like a member of the family. He went back to head of technical for this company, went back to the board, and it freaked the board out. The board was like, you can't have the coffee machine as a member of the family, right? And I said, well, why not? So now we're going to do local, we're going to go back to them. So coffee machines could be that. So next, the Mars rover. What kind of conversations would you have?
So, any context for the Mars rover? Has it returned from a mission? Is it about to go?
The Mars rover that you have in when you do your code labs.
Okay. When is the next Off Cornwall event?
I don't know.
The only thing you can do is forward, back, right, left, isn't it? So.
Okay. Well, there could be a thing that they put in there, I suppose. Don't know what you're saying. Would you like to give me an instruction?
Travel 3 meters forward.
There you go. Now, without any training, when you do this device, I didn't ask you to go forward, and you went forward. You start to really understand what the device is, and you start to understand what you can and can't say to it. And the last one, by the way, these are all done by Jordan. How cool is this? So the last one is that one. It's a bus stop. So if you went up to a bus stop.
When's the bus coming, please?
At 4:30.
4? That's in like 3 hours' time. Can you not speed it up?
Do not understand.
So we're going to have to put some personality of Jordan coming up, where you just want to be insulting back. So what I'd like you to do for a few minutes is think of a device you have in your house. Think of a device you have at work. Get a pen, draw a picture. 2 people stand up, right? I'm going to do this really quickly going around and talk to the device with the thing in front of your face. You only have a few minutes.
Can you still have chat with a teenager?
Sorry? A chatbot in teenager? Yeah, so get them talking, yeah. They're more likely to talk to the coffee machine than they would to the parent.
I don't even like coffee.
Just need to press a button on the pack set. Turn around.
If you didn't get audio, I can send you this audio.
Please do.
Did we do good?
You did brilliantly. Oh, well, I'll give you the presents, the mystery prizes in a second.
Mystery prizes in a second. You have to stay here.
I
Yeah.
think your camera's died.
Oh, no, it's just because he says,
As in the shutter's shut.
oh, this all died.
You could have made that like less
Awkward for you.
assholey.
I'm taking off the phone and sort of dicks that would use the thing.
Ooh,
Lovely squeak.
isn't that feedback?
Beautiful shot that is, right?
Look at that. Great shot.
Did that only just squeak then?
Yeah.
Might be the camera.
It was his feedback.
There's so many microphones here. There we go. Hi. There you go.
Yeah.
They just helped do the. We've got to put up the bus stop. So Harvey was a great bus stop. Can I just say, as bus stops go, it's the best bus stop I've ever seen. Whereas Jordan was the worst bus stop passenger I've ever seen.
A bus stop passenger.
Who was just rude and abusive towards a bus stop.
I was just asking him on the next bus.
The Jordan we know and love, right?
Yes. Okay, you got 1 more minute. Am I behind time in time? I've rushed along. So the actual sync, I'll get people to download a model and put it on something. So I'll bring some microprocessors along, and then they could put it actually on, let's say, a thing, or even they could do it on their computer. I'll only talk to you about which way around they would do that. So what I want them to do is use the TensorFlow Lite NLP model, which is it's got about 100,000 different voices on, and actually put it on something.
Would that fit lecture format?
Well, it depends whether you want a workshop or do you want me to show how it's done. Do you want me to stand there and just do it myself, or do you want me to?
Lecture theatre. What I'm thinking is, if you want to do that, we've got 2.5 hours worth of breaks up the day, so we can set you up on a table, so people can come up. We'll put you on early in the day.
I'll do a lecture on it, and then say if you want to come along, and I'll then.
If you want to workshop it, it's fine. We can do that.
Okay.
It is a lecture.
So this is a mini feature.
Yeah, I wanted to sort of flesh out, because all this changed about a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to flesh out what this would look like. And
So you're aware that my talk is my mini Agile the Reach talk, right?
no, I don't.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you know I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good place to just try it out.
Yeah.
Just try out some early stuff, and then it's like I was a stand-up comedian for a while when I was younger, and you used to go out, just play with sort of a comedy routine, and then hone it down and keep on doing it and doing it and doing it.
What's your best joke?
I had 3 jokes.
3
Three?
jokes?
I had
Stand-up
3 jokes,
comedian.
but they were long premises. It was genetically modified babies for men. The offside rule is very abstract. I can't remember the third one was. No, there isn't. I gave it up. I did.
Is it because no one laughed?
No, well, I got really good reaction right early on, and then I met other stand-up comedians, and they're the saddest fuckers the world has ever known. And I don't want to do that, and so I walked away.
That's quite often the case. A lot of people in the entertainment business are
It wasn't fun, you know. It was like they all had personality issues and things like that, and I'm going, I'm fine, you know.
I'm fine.
There's no need for me to be out there. I just wanted to enjoy myself.
You're mic'd up, right? And the whole room can hear you.
Oh, can they?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm not fine? Okay. Has everyone done something?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to do...
Yes.
What did you do? What was your drawing?
We did a wardrobe mirror.
Wardrobe mirror?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
So,
Do you want to stand up?
okay. Alright. We did a wardrobe mirror. We suggest you could ask the mirror what you suggest for these dresses to go to work, going for a party, to the beach, or you ask the mirror what should I wear because of the weather outside. The mirror then will need to get the weather report to work out what clothes to match. They have
You now know what men's are.
Not me.
Then we
No.
talk about you approach the mirror, and then the mirror makes suggestions to you. Not you asking the mirror, what can I do? It will come look at you and say, don't you need a haircut? Have you shaved recently? The nails are looking a bit dodgy. And then you can have when we talk about the sensors and things earlier, you know, don't you think you need a wash? Smells you. Then you can ask it, I need to get dressed, and say, well, how do you want to dress? Do you need to press, to pull, to keep cool, keep warm, comfort, lounging around on a Sunday? Are you going out, or are you going out? That kind of thing. So it looks at you and makes suggestions as well as you asking it what it would suggest.
You ask it
Great.
what's the fairness of the board.
Oh, we didn't think of that.
That's an Easter egg.
Yeah, that's an Easter egg.
Okay, so you two. So two stand up, one hold the piece of paper in the front and quickly do the conversation. That table next? Oh, sorry, you've done it? Oh, sorry, wait, yeah, go.
The mirror.
That's the mirror.
Hi, oh, God, blimey, Monday morning. What's I wear today?
Well, where are you going today?
Work.
You're going to work. I would suggest the blue pinstripe suit, but I think you should get a shave and wash before you go out.
Okay, what do you give me shoes?
Definitely not the brown coat and the blue suit. I suggest you wear black. Excellent, thank you.
There you go.
Say, this mirror sounds like my girlfriend.
It sounds more like a substitute friend than it does. Okay, so very quick. What's next? Two stand up.
So we've got an oven. First of all, we start most people do the oven. So, for example, hay oven. We have a roast dinner. What time do I need to put it on? I think I eat at 6 o'clock.
If you want to eat at 6 o'clock, put your chicken in at 4:30.
What time do I need to put my potatoes in?
What time do you want to eat?
Same time.
What time's that?
6 o'clock.
If you want to eat at 6 o'clock, put your potatoes in at 4.
And in the next scenario, you imagine that the oven could talk to other places in the house. So, oven, I know what to make for tea tonight. Have we got any leftovers in the freezer?
You never ate.
Is it still safe to eat?
No.
Have we got anything in the cupboards I can have?
Some croutons on an apple.
What can I make with that?
Crouton and apple salad.
So we've got time for one more. So students, do you want to give it a go? Come on. Okay.
Right, so we did a smart fridge, so we can ask it stuff like, can I have some ice? Yes. And like we can ask like what stuff's in it, so like do I have any milk? No. Can you add that to my order list? Yes. And then stuff like that, how cold the fridge is, and depends how smart your fridge is really. Fridge is not cold. Is that a fridge? Yeah. And then we also got like, cause some fridges they have like a web browser on it, so you can like Google stuff as well. I didn't have this feature, sorry.
Well, some fridges they're like stone.
So thanks very much, everyone. What it shows, we've run out of time, but we'll be showing you how to do workshops using linguistic techniques and then creating NLP models around those conversational units at the event. We'll be developing this over the next few weeks. I'm developing this, the Demonstrator, which will be a whole one unit with a local NLP model in it and for you to be able to play around with. And I'd like to thank Harvey and Jordan. Now, I haven't told them that there's got these free gifts. Google sends us stuff all the time. Sometimes it's like smartwatches I've given away and Google Homes. Sometimes it's stickers.
Is it an empty box?
It's not empty, it weighed something.
The only reason they did this is because I wouldn't tell them what's inside the box. So I'd like to say thank you very much for them. And it's a cup. But it's a Google cup.
Yay.
It's a good cup.
Awesome. Thanks.
That's all right. Thank you very much. So that's me. Any questions, come up. And thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks, Sam.